everyone, welcome back. Today I am finally doing the personal Q&A video that you guys had asked of me. This video has been in my planner every week for like 4 consecutive weeks, but every time I was ready to do it, something else would come up or another topic would come up, and it just kept getting pushed farther and farther down the line. But today we're getting it done. And I read all the questions you guys asked, whether it was on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and I tried to pick up questions that were repeated over and over and over. So the very first question that was coming up again and again was, one, how do I maintain such a positive outlook on life, and how do I find that home-work-life balance? And I would like to say, when you watch a YouTuber, you are not seeing the big picture. You're only seeing small parts of a person's life. And while I do try to stay positive and try to maintain a positive outlook, there are definitely days when I'm not positive. As I've mentioned in a previous video, I do suffer from anxiety. I also suffer from a really bad case of perfectionism and workaholic syndrome, and I can become my own worst critic when I feel like I'm not rising to the occasion or I'm not putting out my own best work. And that's a part of my life that you guys don't get to see. Because honestly, I don't think anyone would really want to watch a channel where someone's complaining day in and day out that, oh, I screwed this up, oh, that didn't go perfectly to plan. So yeah, you're not seeing all parts of my life. You guys are only seeing the best, and I think that's fair to say of most YouTubers. And as far as like homework balance goes, I'm pretty convinced that there is no such thing. The 2 years that I was a stay-at-home mom when my second child was born, I was on top of everything. The laundry was always done, the house was always clean, we ate home-cooked meals cooked from scratch on a daily basis. I was happy, I was always in a good mood, I never felt rushed or hurried or overly exhausted because, if I really needed a rest, I could take a rest. But then when I went back to work full time, when my second child turned 2 years old, wow, just wow. And at this time, I wasn't even a blogger or a YouTuber. I had just gone back to work, and I had 2 kids and a house and a husband. And I remember very clearly that first year, I was cooking dinner one day after work, and I remember I was making spaghetti, and I'm stirring the sauce, and I'm crying. And my husband looks at me, he's like, why are you crying? I'm like, I don't know. And I didn't. I just knew that I was so exhausted and so worn out that I was driving myself crazy because I was trying to keep that same level of perfection at home that I had had when I was a stay-at-home mom. So if you're a working mom, there is no balance. There's always going to be something on your to-do list that's just not going to get crossed off the list that day. I do find that the key to not completely losing your mind is organization. Organization, having a planner, having to-do lists, and prioritizing the to-do list. This video was on my to-do list for 4 weeks, but it wasn't a bigger priority than getting my son to the doctor. It wasn't a bigger priority than making sure that my certification got renewed or dealing with the medical insurance over a billing error. There's always going to be items on your to-do list that get shoved to the next day. There's going to be items on your to-do list that are going to get shoved into next month. It's okay. And the hardest thing for me to realize sometimes is that it's okay to not be perfect. And that is easier said than done. It really is. So give yourself some slack. Try to stay as organized as possible and accept the fact that you are one person with an never-ending to-do list, and if something doesn't get done, it's okay. It's okay to feed your children pre-bought meals. It is okay to spray Febreze on a shirt and have your kid wear it because you didn't get a chance to do the laundry that night. It's okay to go to bed without washing your makeup off because honestly you were exhausted and you fell asleep before you remembered to do it. Life isn't perfect, and the more you try to make life perfect, the more anxiety you're going to create for yourself and the faster you're going to lose your sanity. So that's pretty much all I got to say on that one. Another question that kept coming up over and over and over was my hair care routine. And it's actually a really funny story why I'm this blonde. Back in June, we had a death in the family, and I didn't think I had enough time to go to the salon and get my hair done, but my roots were getting pretty long. And so I had a box of hair dye under the bathroom sink that was had been there for 6-7 months. So I thought, okay, well, I will dye my hair. And it was a box of red hair dye. And it was a box of red hair dye that I had used many times over the course of years. But usually my hair was brown, and I would dye it red, which would give me a pretty reddish brown color. Well, this time my hair was a blonde. It was like a dirty blonde, but it was still blonde. And I threw a box of red hair dye on my hair. Well, when I finished blowing out my hair, my head looked like a Doritos bag. It was literally flaming hot Doritos red, and I completely freaked out. So I told my husband, on Sunday that I was going to the hairdresser. I called Giselle. Thank you, Giselle, for saving my hair. She sat me down and she immediately put a bunch of bleach highlights in there, and then she did something she calls a bleach conditioner cap, where I think she kind of mixes bleach and conditioner together and then kind of puts that on your head just before your final rinse out. And so that stripped out literally 80% of the red. And so I was a strawberry blonde at that point. But now even the little bit of strawberry that was left there, it has washed out. But yeah, so that's how I suddenly became very, very, very blonde. And I'll be totally honest, I'm actually not a fan of it being this blonde, but because all that bleaching damaged my hair some, I have to wait a little while before I can go back in and get some low lights put to my hair instead of highlights. So yeah, but as for how I managed to keep my hair healthy, because I do style my hair every single day with heating instruments. This is a big one. I use the coconut oil. I try at least once every 2 weeks to just take a big old gob of this stuff and just run it through my hair and let it sit for about 4 to 5 hours. So you definitely want to do this on a day that you're not going anywhere, or you're home for the day and you're going to let it sit in your hair all evening and then wash it out before bedtime. One time I did sleep with this in my hair, and it made a horrible mess. My pillowcase was oily. I had oil all over my face. I don't recommend sleeping with it. I know some beauty gurus will tell you to sleep with coconut oil in your hair. I just found it to be way too messy. As for what I use to just wash and shampoo and condition my hair, I actually use the Honest conditioner and the Honest shampoo. They're organic, or mostly organic, and they're very natural, so I like using these. I like using natural products as much as possible, as long as that product actually works. I'm not going to use a natural product if I don't really think I'm benefiting from the natural product, but if I can get away with organics, I'm totally down with that. On the ends of my hair, I use argan oil. Not a lot, because you don't want to re-grease your head as soon as you wash it clean, but from here down where I start to experience breakage a lot and split ends, I will rub in the argan oil into the ends, and then when my hair is first wet, I will spray this in before I try to comb it out, because my hair is fine and it will knot, and if I don't put a spray-in conditioner prior to combing it out, I will rip a lot of hair out of my head. So those are the big products I use for maintaining my hair. And when I do dye my hair on my own, I usually just use the L'Oreal Preference, but lately I've been having my hairdresser Giselle do my hair for me much more frequently. It's just been easier, honestly, and it makes sure I don't screw it up. Another big question that kept coming up over and over was my skincare routine and some of the products I've used. I sometimes will change out products, but there is definitely a core product base that I use. And the two that I am going on years of using is the Oil of Olay Regenerist Serum and my Rock Retinol Deep Wrinkle Night Cream. I've been using these for a very, very long time, and I love these. I may try another product, but the minute that product is over, I go right back to these. For my under eye cream, I have been using the Kiehl's Powerful Wrinkle Reducing Eye Cream. This was a little on the expensive side, but I will say this little jar, I bought this last year in Chicago in July, so this is 1 year old, and it's still over half full because you use such a very small amount of it when you apply it. So that's what I use under my eyes. Right now, my daily moisturizer I'm using is the Tarte Drink of H2O. I love this for summertime. It's very light under your makeup. It doesn't leave you with like a goopy face. And then as for my summertime sunscreen, I have been using the Setting Mist with Rosemary Broad Spectrum Sunscreen SPF 50 from Supergoop. And so I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm definitely a sweater. In the summertime, I will get really shiny and oily real fast. So the fact that this is very watery and absorbs in is a perk for me. And the fact that this goes on, when you spray this on, it feels almost like you're spraying like a dry powder on your face. You're not, it's definitely a liquid, but it goes on very dry feeling. So I prefer this in the summertime as opposed to putting on like a creamy sunscreen on my face, which then when I put my makeup on that, I just feel like I'm wearing like just putty on my face. I don't like that at all. So those are the products I tend to use right now. Actually, a lot of these products, I'm going on over a year plus or longer using these products. Okay, Blondie LB asked, how did my husband and I meet? Well, we actually met through eHarmony. I was a divorced mom with a very small child, and I worked in a building with 40 women teachers and one gym teacher who was a guy who was married. And I was already 30s, lower 30s. I wasn't doing the bar scene. I wasn't going out on lots of dates. I wasn't in a situation where I could actually even meet anybody. And so after my first divorce, I kind of didn't date anyone for 3 years. That was a really rough marriage, and once the divorce was over, I really felt like I just needed to be by myself and just take care of myself, take care of my child, and figure out who I was and what did I want out of life, because my first marriage was slightly abusive and it ended very badly. I mean, we're talking, court dates, police involvement, restraining orders. I really just kind of needed time to heal. And then when I was finally about 3 years later, I really wasn't even looking for a husband or remarriage. I was kind of convinced that I was never going to marry again. It's like, oh, marriage, it sucks for the woman, but it's great for the guy. That really was my belief before I met Bill. But I did want to have someone to go to the movies with and go out to dinner with. So I was really looking for like a casual relationship. I really was. And so with eHarmony, I met a few guys and I went on the first few dates, and only one guy made it to a second date. And after the second date, it was just like, no, sorry, this just didn't feel good. And finally, eHarmony connected me to Bill. and we did the whole emailing back and forth for about a month, and then we started talking on the phone, and finally we arranged our first date. And I knew a half hour into our first date I was going to marry this man. I really did. We were at an Outback Steakhouse laughing our butts off over Three Stooges episodes and Laurel and Hardy and Abbott and Costello, and I was literally holding my side laughing. I was just like, this is it. I'm going to marry this guy. I mean, it was kind of amazing just how fast I knew he was the one. And we've been happily married we just had our 9th wedding anniversary this past April. So yeah, that's how we met. TC Slater 1 asked, what is on my summer reading list? And I've shared some books with you guys already. I've read Mindset, I read The Book Whisperer, I read the one on technology that I can't think of the title. One book I just finished when I was on vacation a couple weeks ago was The Girls by Emma Cline. This was a really good book. When you first read like the cover page, it's talking about cults and murders and things like that. So it makes the book sound like it's going to be very dark. But actually that stuff doesn't happen until the very end of the book. What it really is a coming of age book. And it's about a girl who's 14 years old and she's struggling to find her way. And so she meets, I don't want to call them hippies, but she meets these cult people. And she kind of likes it. So I'm not going to spoil it too much more. I'm going to stop right there. But it is actually a really great read, and it sheds light on how you might be drawn into that kind of environment, and why someone back in those days was joining the cults as they were, and how the leaders of the cults were very charismatic and was able to dupe so many people. It's actually a really great book, and it is a little creepy at the end. I highly recommend it, and I will say that Emma Cline, she did a wonderful job developing these characters. You really understand these characters. She gives a lot of depth to them. Right now on my Kindle, I am actually reading a book called Fairy Tale Beginnings by Holly Martin. And I'll be totally honest, it's a complete fluff book, but I am thoroughly enjoying it. The main character, she studies castles and historical buildings, and she's at a castle right now with the owner, and he is dashing and handsome and charming, and they're falling for each other, and it's total schlock. And it's a perfect summer read. It's light and fluffy, not too serious, and you take it with a grain of salt for what it is. But I'm really enjoying it. I find myself laughing a lot as I'm reading this book. The next book on my reading list after I finish Fairy Tale Beginnings is this one, The Woman in Cabin 10. And this is supposedly a very scary book, and I love scary stuff. I do. I like scary movies, not horror. I don't like really gross, bloody things like the Saw movies. Those aren't for me. But something like The Conjuring or Annabelle, oh, that is totally my kind of a movie. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one next after I finish Fairy Tale Beginnings. Leah Burnham asked, I just realized Leah Burnham is the person who won the giveaway. Okay, what cute short outfits work for me during the summer? Do I whiten my teeth? And do I have a budget for teacher stuff? First of all, I don't really wear shorts. I tend to wear capris or dresses. I had knee replacement surgery, so I have this really long scar on my knee, and it's faded a lot since I've had it, but I'm still self-conscious about it, and so I don't like showing it if I can avoid it. So I tend to wear capris or the cut-off pants mostly, and then I love wearing maxi dresses during the summer, and even mid-knee length dresses during the summer. So I have shorts, but I really don't wear them. I just don't. As for do I whiten my teeth? No. I definitely don't whiten my teeth. I am a very vigorous brusher though. In fact, it's kind of funny. The last time I went to the dentist, I was told that I needed to stop brushing my teeth so intensely because in 2 spots on my gums, I was actually causing the gums to start receding from over brushing. So yeah, you can't win, I swear. Next, do I have a budget for teacher stuff? Nope. I probably should, but I don't. I spend way too much of my income on replenishing my own classroom and on the things I want to have in my classroom. So I will say though, as I went through the years, I'm able to spend more money. And when I was first 5 years teaching, I wasn't able to spend as much money as I do now. Now I'm at the top of the pay scale, and I am married. My husband has an income, so I'm in a position where I can spend money on my classroom. But if you're a new teacher, you don't have that luxury. At least most new teachers don't have that luxury. So if you can't spend on your own room, don't feel bad. It took me a long time to get to this position where I can supply my room the way I want to. Next, Nikki Bug asked, what do you wish you knew in your 20s? This one is an easy question for me. I wish I knew in my 20s to not care at all what other people think of me. A big part of my anxiety in my teens and 20s was just this constant worry of, did I offend that person? Ooh, I said that wrong, didn't I? I would go to bed at night and replay in my head 1,000,000 times the conversation that happened in the lunchroom at work that day, and replay the words I said and the look on other people's faces, and did that bother that person? Should I have kept that thought to myself? Oh, I don't think she likes me. I used to drive myself crazy with this stuff, and it's also stupid. It really is stupid. When I was 30 years old, I divorced my first husband. And as I said, it was not a good marriage, and he was a big part of my anxiety too, because he was very critical of me, verbally abusive. He was. And when you're married to someone who's verbally abusive to you, as the years go by, you start to believe the stuff that they're shouting at you. Oh, he must be right. But yeah, I was 30 years old. I got divorced. I had a baby. And for the first time in my life, I was living on my own. For the first time in my life, I didn't have to clear something with a parent or a spouse. I was free to make my own decisions, live the way I wanted to live, buy what I wanted to buy, do what I wanted to do, and there was nobody there to tell me no, or that that wasn't right. And wow. Wow, was that so empowering. And also, because of AJ, for the first time in my life, I had someone whose needs far surpassed my own worries and anxieties. You know what? If I put my foot in my mouth at lunchtime, tough. Live with it. I don't care. If you don't like me, bite me. Seriously, bite me. I don't care. The minute you realize that the thoughts and opinions of other people about you doesn't matter, to me, that is the moment you are a real grown-up. In my 20s, did I have a full-time job? Yes. Was I married? Yes. I had a house to maintain. I still wasn't my own person yet, though. To me, I still wasn't a grown-up. You are a real grown-up when you can honestly think to yourself, wow, I really ticked that person off today. Oh well, don't care. Yeah, that's really empowering. At the end of the day, the only people that really matter are your family and your core friends. And here's the thing about your real, honest to God, true friends. odds are whatever you say isn't going to offend them anyway. If they're really your friends, they're either going to laugh with you, crack a joke with you, or go, oh yeah, tell me about it, I hear ya. So yeah, shout out to Susie, Missy, and my sister Karen. These are the people who matter for me, as well as my husband and my children. Everyone else, it's just background noise. Everyone else's opinion of you is nothing more than static. Do you want your boss to approve of you? Yes. Do you need to impress your boss? Yes. Do you need to impress every one of your coworkers? Heck no. And you know what? No matter how hard you try anyway, you never will. So why even try? So yeah, that's the advice I would totally give my 20-year-old self and even my high school self. All these things that you're worried about and trying to make everyone like you, it doesn't matter. It never mattered and it never will matter. The only person that you need to have like you is yourself. I can honestly say, I like the person I am. I'm proud of the person I am. Am I perfect? Heck no. Do I screw up from time to time? Absolutely. Do I put my foot in my mouth sometimes? Actually, a lot. But it's okay. I acknowledge when I make mistakes. I apologize when I truly make a mistake. And if I just offered my opinion and someone doesn't like my opinion, don't really care. I'm a grown woman and I'm entitled to opinions. You are entitled to your opinions. We've now live in a culture where everyone is a hater. And expressing your opinion these days results in having, 40 people on the internet jumping on your back and screaming and shouting and, typing in all caps and insulting you. And you know what? Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So be yourself, be proud of yourself, be the best person that you can be, but do it because you're doing it for yourself, not because you're worried about what everyone else likes or thinks about you. So that's what I would tell my 20-year-old self. Princess Chelsea. And Princess Chelsea, I love your handle. Great name. What is on your travel bucket list? And for me, my travel bucket list is definitely all of Europe. I mean, all of Europe. I want to see Venice. I want to see Rome. I want to see Paris. I want to see London. I want to see Dublin. I want to see the Cotswolds in England. I want to stay in a Irish castle on the coast. I want to see the romantic road in Germany. I want to go to there's this city, island of Crete. I can't think of the name of it right now, but Santorini, that's what it is, Santorini. I mean, there are so many places in Europe I am dying to see. The fact that there are buildings in Europe that are 400, 500, 600 years old and they're still in use and still preserved. The historian in me absolutely loves that. I love living in America. I love being an American, but I do wish that in the USA we took just a little bit more pride in our heritage and that we didn't live in a country that is so ready to just tear it down, build a new one. The minute a building becomes old, instead of restoring it and preserving the architecture, we just, rip it down and build a nice glass skyscraper. So nothing against glass skyscrapers, but I mean, there's something to be said for the masonry work and the carvings of older buildings. I love all of those architectural details. So yes, my bucket list definitely includes all of Europe. If I were to win the lottery, that would be the first thing I would do, is just take a 6-month tour of Europe. Okay, Kerr Brewer is asking me, what are some of your all-time favorite books and movies? And here, when it comes to my all-time favorite books, I kind of have a wide variety here. I love the classics. almost anything by Jane Austen is definitely a hit with me. Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights, The Great Gatsby, Gone with the Wind. I love these books. But then I also have books that are like other genres. Like I love scary, suspenseful books that have like a touch of Indiana Jones to them. And in this department, definitely the book series written by Preston and Child. I love the books written by Preston and Child. They're adventures with a scare factor in them. I like a lot of the books by James Rollins earlier in his career. He wrote books called Subterranean and Excavation. And again, these are books that have like a touch of science, a touch of Indiana Jones, an undiscovered something that's been lying in late for 5,000 years. I love a good adventure story. So those would definitely be among my top favorite books. And when it comes to movies, okay, guilty pleasure here, can't deny it. Pride and Prejudice with Colin Firth. Oh my gosh. I have rewatched that movie, probably 100 times. I really have. I like that era. Same with Emma, with Gwyneth Paltrow. I know a lot of people don't like Gwyneth Paltrow, but the movie Emma itself with all the dresses and Mr. Knightley, yeah, love that movie. Downton Abbey, loved the entire series, loved all of it. But at the same time, I'm a huge fan of like The Walking Dead, and excuse me, so I like a lot of things. I have a big variety of things that I like to watch. But I will say when it comes to my movies, I don't like gory stuff. I really, really don't. So yeah, not that. But with that, I am going to wrap up this video. I hope you liked it. If you did like it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me in the future, click the subscribe button. And if there's anything else you would like to ask me, go ahead and ask it in the comment section below. Depending on how many comments I get, I might make another Q&A video, get to know me video in the future. And with that, talk to you later.